I just want their fairy tale romance to end with a win.
Well, it's always next year.
It's not. This has been like a trajectory. It's part of the narrative. That ruins the narrative.
Yeah. I mean,
you just don't know about romance.
I think I know what's important, though.
It's just you talking to your wife.
Yeah.
Welcome, residents, to the Dr. DC podcast. My name is producer Richard, and across me is the doctor himself.
Huh.
He may not be romantic, but at least he's imaginative.
But at least he's digging his heels in.
A Reed Vanier story, yeah. He's not blank, but at least he's digging his heels in.
Listen, we need to change the fucking conversation from last week.
Do you have any imaginative ideas?
I've got lots of ideas.
Okay, yeah.
Ask me about my ideas.
Yeah, tell me about
Give
your
me
ideas.
a second. Ask me about my ideas. Do it again.
Is this the doc squad?
Start again.
Okay. You get some ideas?
Here's an idea.
Yeah.
Just don't.
That is definitely your idea.
Mr. Imagination.
Tensions are high. The Super Bowl is in overtime.
Yes, yeah. And you're invested.
I am.
Because you think that it'll ruin their relationship if the Chiefs don't win.
Look, if you know anything about Taylor Swift, it's that she's into a narrative and it's all about like the pieces falling in it together.
So sorry, I can't tell if you are a Swiftie or if you're in the like, no, she's just shallow. This is PR thing.
No, I'm a Swiftie,
Which
but
version?
I also know that like she likes when like things go a certain
Sure.
So I think that it's not a PR thing, but
Right.
it also.
So do you think, like honestly, do you think if the Chiefs don't win the Super Bowl, do you think they've only got like a couple months left?
I'm gonna be
think
honest.
she's gonna like talk herself out of it?
I don't think she'll intentionally do it, but I do think that it's a very high.
You think like
possibility.
that's like that she's that sort of person that's like, well, you know, right now it feels like the stars are aligned. That it's. Yeah.
I mean, kind of, yeah. Again, love Taylor Swift,
yeah, fair enough.
but like, yeah. Kind of.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, Travis Kelce is playing like his life's on the line. Like his wife's on the line.
Yeah, I mean,
Like,
truly. But it also, it's like, I don't think, I didn't come into this thinking that he would do this, but everyone was like, is he going to propose if they win and stuff like that?
Oh, sure.
But he is playing like he was going to propose if they win.
He's playing like he set up too many like things he can't get his deposit back for.
I can't stop the violinist from coming into the fucking
Yeah.
the field.
They're gonna play that shit on the Jumbotron no matter what.
Yeah.
happens.
And it's gonna look real bad if I don't win. It's the guy who
loses. It's just Taylor, will you marry me? All over the. I mean, that's funny.
It's a guy who like put the kids' college money on this
Plan
game.
A is we win the Super Bowl and I propose at center field.
Yeah.
And the trophy's there and everyone's watching and it's amazing. Plan B is out in the parking lot.
Yeah, where he fucking blows his brains out.
Jesus.
Each week we talk about the weird and wonderful world of DC while fielding questions from listeners like you. Let's talk about this fucking theme.
Oh, sorry, you're mad about the bad theme you came up with? Hey, can we talk about like justice?
I said social justice.
Superheroes do justice.
Superheroes.
Justice League, what's justice?
Superheroes that fight for social justice.
I would argue that no justice is just if it's not social.
This feels like a real like hashtag all lives matter approach that you're coming to this.
Hey, listen. Absolutely not.
Some might say all justice is
Although I
social
did
justice.
end up on the wrong side of the Twitter thing, that's for sure. It was a bad week last week. was a bad week last. You know what? Normally I would save this for the Patreon, but
Yeah.
I feel like you need to know this now because I haven't told you this.
Oh?
I've been very busy. A lot's going on between directing and between work.
What do you mean last year?
And all of these things. And yesterday I had to get my wife downtown. She was running an event, and I had to get my kid to where she was getting babysat for the day, and I had to get to rehearsal, and like there's a lot going on, and blah blah blah. And I dropped my wife off, and I'm bringing my kid to where she's getting babysat, and we're on the way there. We're driving, and I've got just enough time to like drop her off and comfortably get to rehearsal and do all my kind of pre-rehearsal stuff.
Yeah.
And as we're pulling up to the house where I'm dropping her off, I fart. But I don't.
Oh no! Oh no!
And I, as a favorite comedian of mine, Patton Oswalt, would say, I gently shat my pants.
What did you do?
And then I had to drop
you just
my kid off? And then I had to drive all the way home and deal with that, and then show up right when rehearsal started. So I didn't do any of my pre-stuff. I was like, truly, I was in the car, and if my kid wasn't there, I would have just been screaming like, you idiot, you fucking idiot, you absolute fucking idiot. Like, it didn't feel different at all. I was just like, oh, I got a fart. And I was just like, oh no. It was crazy.
A shitter isn't late. A shitter arrives precisely when he intends to.
Where I'm going with this is you could also call me the big shitter.
Yeah, we got a big hitter and a big shitter. I mean, if there's any nickname for you on this podcast,
Yeah.
there's a big fucking narrative of you shitting.
I mean,
Yeah.
that's true. At any rate,
I can't believe you shit yourself.
so the next time we do 20 questions, it's like, when was the last time you shit yourself? It'd be like 3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
So, little update of how things are going for me.
Yeah, it seemed.
I mean, to be fair, my diet right now is brutal because I'm like
Rushing.
so busy, and I'm drinking too much coffee and Red Bull and stuff like that.
Sure.
So probably should have seen this coming, but
never trust a fart at this age.
I mean, I won't anymore.
No.
Now I'm going to treat farts like emotions. Just bottle them up inside forever.
Yeah, until they explode on someone.
Well, you know,
On your family or in the car dropping them off.
I'm sure it's fine.
Like, so this week we're talking about
I'd
just
have a conversation with another adult while also having shit in my
haven't done that since you were a kid. Yeah. That's very funny. Was it like a serious conversation?
Well, it's just because I was dropping my kid off.
Oh, so you were talking to the parents?
Yes.
Wow, you probably smelled like shit.
No, I stayed out, like, mostly outside.
Don't come over here.
It wasn't like I didn't like evacuate. But it
Why
was,
is the snow brown around your feet?
Yeah, it's a trail. I think you just walked off into the woods.
Did you spill some coffee? Or?
Yeah. Oh, looks like the chili in your pocket just leaked.
Oh, not my pocket chili.
And the lesson I learned at the end of that day was I went for barbecue.
I'm surprised you didn't go for like a fucking charcuterie board. You're gonna stuff it back in there.
3 sausages,
Jesus.
pit beans.
Oh my god, is that what you called it?
Yeah, well, listen, I had to replenish the pit
beans. Oh my god.
Anyway. Yeah, Richard was so bad at coming up with a theme that we just blew it out to just ask any question.
Yeah, because
ask any DC question. Look, superheroes justice. I don't know, is that a thing?
Because the doctor didn't want to deal with the truth of
we
the
also
subject.
talked about a bunch of social justice things like 3 weeks ago when we did refugees, and I think that's enough for this
Yeah,
year.
I was just gonna say that was hard enough for you.
Yeah, and I bit my tongue.
Yeah, no longer.
1 week, fine.
This also does look like it's just part 2 of you grabbing all of the extra content because there's a fucking blue sky questions in here.
Yeah, that's not extra.
So you got new blue sky questions? That platform that you said you were done with?
Yeah,
because we were like, you've gotten too many.
I know, but I'm still posting
blue
there.
Skies
I'm still posting. It's
There's so many questions for this episode.
but there's a whole extra episode's worth. Basically, our Patreon thing of Epuary has spilled over into the main theme.
Of course.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
it is Epuary.
Yeah, it's not no theme.
No, it's just a themeless month. It's not no theme,
Yeah.
which is a theme.
Yeah.
It's not no theme November.
It's
Epuary.
Yeah, where there's episodes.
Yeah. To be clear.
Just, I think you clarified.
So you got the right one, right?
Did I? I don't know.
Well, because there's two, because there's so many questions.
I grabbed the top one.
Well, then you got the right one. Yeah.
Okay, I was like, why would the top one not be the newest one?
I don't know. It's just keep you on your toes.
Oh my god! Well, please make me fucking curl my toes. Starting Facebook.
Go do the Facebook. Go do the Facebook.
First question comes from Brayden.
I'm not gonna lie. I kind of feel like I need to fart, but I'm not.
I could see the look on your face, and I was concerned what that meant.
I'm okay.
I ate a lot of garbanzo beans tonight, so
I'm fine. Just go.
Okay. Don't
20-minute episode.
Braden Ketty asks, in the vastness of the multiverse, you get to choose one DC character to join the Fellowship of the Ring. Who do you choose and why?
Yeah, I mean, I guess like other than just the obvious, like Superman, because nothing will stop him.
Yeah, he just goes
incorruptible and he's fine.
Yeah. What would be a more interesting character, I guess? It's Jimmy Olsen.
Just to document it?
Just I want him.
He's writing in the
book
the whole time.
Yeah. He's writing the story.
Yeah. I mean, if Lois did it, would be full of spelling mistakes.
I think Jimmy would be funny, and also crazy shit always happens to him.
It would be funny where he's like, oh yeah, we're in Maury. Instead of Pippin knocking the thing over, be like Jimmy taking a picture.
Yes.
Flash goes.
Yes. It feels very much in line with who he is.
I mean, that's kind of funny. I like that. Yeah. Who would I get to join the Fellowship?
In my camera!
And my signal watch.
Yeah.
It's like, man, it's really hurting the ears of Sauron.
One!
Yeah, fuck. Who would I pick? I might pick like in a sort of Tolkien-esque sort of theme. You might pick someone like Swamp Thing or something.
Oh,
who would kind of take on some of the role of like, like Tom Bombadil and Treebeard.
Sure.
And, like, because Tolkien had this whole thing about the natural world also like fighting back against Sauron, that like nature was also rebelling against like the machines and the industrialization kind of thing. And so it feels like a character like Swamp Thing would be like extremely Tolkien-esque. A character that like elves all know about, and the hobbits would be like, fucking what? And they'd be like, oh yeah, it's like the plant guy. He's like,
yeah.
Who
do you think you are to tell me what is and what isn't Tolkien-esque?
Me, Jerry
Randall Tolkien.
One of my favorite sketches of all time.
It's one of the best. Another easy one would be Shining Knight.
Oh, sure. Yeah. Shining Knight would be good. Yeah. Yeah, that's cool. I like that one.
It's an easy one. All right, let's leave Facebook and head over to Threads.
There's vigilantes just on a motorcycle. They're like, what the fuck is that? Batmobile just fucking plows through the line of orcs.
Here, you bastards.
Riders of Rohan.
I do love that. That's dope. We're going to Threads.
Threads.
Never consistent.
An easy and good thing to do.
It's always consistent. First question comes from the real Josh Gill. The fuck? Show up.
Sorry. On this show, you're telling me to show up?
Well, one of us has to, and it's not going to be me. The real Josh Gill.
Sexy Gill.
You're fucking right.
I think it's because that's usually more of an Instagram thing. I got thrown off.
Well, you are the one who's fucking asking questions on Threads.
I don't know. Listen.
What's a story you'd like to be told involving a character or a cast of characters? Who do you want to see write and draw / color it?
Do you know what we don't see enough of is like a really cool character who's got it together, the character that everyone wants to be, but just on one day they happen to shit themselves a bit.
was like, where is he going with this?
It's a thing that could happen to any infallible character.
Yeah, but
one day, a little bit.
A little fouling.
An SBD.
Yeah, but all those other things don't describe you.
Oh, well, what's something that you would want to see?
I mean, I'd love to see a mental health story.
Like a proper
Yeah. Or, a social justice story.
I think we're done here. You know my feelings about
Yeah, you fucking liberal cucks. We're not gonna woke up this podcast.
No, absolutely not.
Yeah, not infected with the woke mind virus. By the way, actually, never mind. I'm gonna tell that story.
Wow, a story you won't tell.
I told you. It's not because of that, but more because the person's listening, probably.
I see.
Yeah.
Fuck. Yeah, I keep getting hung up on we were just talking about this on Ghost Facers.
Mm-hmm.
This one thing that Crowley does, which is like so evil, which is to go after like everyone they ever saved. And I think there's some version of like a similar thing where it's like these people that like, they're vigilantes, they break the law, they hide their identities, they beat people up, blah, blah, blah. Whether, for good, that's fine. But some idea that like part of how they justify it to themselves is that they're saving lives, they're making things better. And like, if there was some like a story where it's like the unintended consequence of the lives they saved, like how many of the people they saved like went on to be awful.
Sure, yeah.
Not in a way where it's like they shouldn't have saved them or something like that, but just like them just a little bit more of like, what are the ripples of the thing other than like the broad, like you inspired hope in this city or something like that, which is like so global. It doesn't have like names and stories attached to it, but like something about like how many people like, what did it do to their lives to be saved or to be, I don't know, to have had like something horrible happen to them and then like this other scary thing also happened to like we always just go like, thank you, Batman. And like, I think it'd be cool to like have a little bit more of, it's the thing we always come back to is like the mental health thing. We're like, oh, Sanctuary, great. Yeah. Heroes and villains, they probably need that. And you go like, what about people? Like, the thing that we constantly forget about in comic books and superhero comics and superhero movies is like the citizens.
Yeah.
And so I guess maybe just a few more things that kind of focused on that, like the impacts on people, not within like the super families of these characters, but just like the general people. Like you have to find some balance between like, it's a story about one specific person and this happened to them versus like the way too vague, like the people of Gotham hate you now. It's like somewhere in between that, there's like a trend or a group or a thing, and we just examine that a bit more. I'm describing a thing that does, in some parts, exist sometimes, but I find that usually when they do that, those groups, if they find each other and then become a kind of like either supervillains or some sort of other kind of like, they elevate to the level of like, we're a group in Gotham or we're a group in Metropolis now or whatever, as opposed to just staying as regular people.
Mm-hmm.
Like the last few times I can think of where it's like people that had been traumatized by a thing or whatever, they come together and then all of a sudden they're the thing on Batman's radar or Green Arrow's radar or whatever. It'd be great to have them not have to elevate that way, but it's just like to Gotham Central, the citizens.
Sure, yeah.
Basically is kind of where I'm going with that.
Yeah, no, I like
Pick
that.
a city in DC or you kind of hop around. Like, how is it different in Central City versus Metropolis versus, Star City or whatever? Like, but just, to do like a Gotham Central sort of thing, but just with like people living their lives.
But also like, what is the like cultural impact, I think, is the thing that I'm always really interested in.
Yeah, because it always feels too like shallow.
Like you'll see like the Flash Day or something, but
something like that, or it's like the thing they did in fucking Thor: Love and Thunder, which I still think is baffling. The Infinity Cones
Yes.
ice cream shop, which is like it would be like going to 9/11 donuts. Like
Yeah,
it's the most insane. They're two eclairs.
Yeah.
They're fucking bunch of cream coming out.
Yeah. He's eating the South Tower. Yeah.
Yeah. It was 2 eclairs in New York and 1 donut in Pennsylvania.
Yeah, that would be fucked up.
Yeah, but you know what I mean? Like in comics, they tend to do that. Like you go like in the Tom King Batman run, there's like, would you like to jokerize your fries? And you're like, he's a terrorist. Like,
come to hollow low-cost goods and services.
You know, like you don't go to a restaurant and they go to me, do you want to bundify that meal? Like, Bundy burger. Like you don't like do that. Like comic books always do this kind of like meta joke thing instead of like what is the actual cultural impact of having this vigilante in your town or whatever.
Bin lattes.
Bin lattes. Oh no. Oh no. Osama bin
lattes.
Oh no.
Yeah.
That's dark as shit.
Yeah, have your Idi meal.
The last onion ring of Scotland.
Yeah, stuff like that.
Oh no.
They don't do that. Because that would be tasteless.
Yeah. We're furiously writing down the idea.
Well, this is if just you and I had a marketing agency.
I guess I'll get the Mussolinis.
And obviously the poutine.
Yeah. I when I go, I always order the Mussolinis because I know they'll arrive on time.
Jesus.
Kimchi Jong-un, is that a thing?
That feels slightly not good.
Oh, that?
Yeah.
We found the line?
Yeah, that's fucked up.
Okay. All right, hang on. I'll figure this out.
You got another one?
Not yet.
Oh, okay.
Let's just keep going.
Okay.
I'm sure one will come to me.
Okay, let's go to the next question. From Fingerstripes13, who asks, I'm currently reading through the entirety of the New 52.
Vladimir Putin, you
idiot. I just said that.
Oh, sorry. Okay. Never mind. You keep
back
going.
to the fucking drawing board.
I'm Mr. Imagination.
Yeah. Sorry, yeah. I've come across a handful of titles I didn't know existed. What were your 3 favorite New 52 titles that weren't super mainstream?
Right. So not like the most mainstream things. Like there's always a Superman book. There's always a Batman book. There's always kind of stuff like that. What favorite 3 New 52 titles other than those? One I would throw out there is Animal Man. That the Jeff Lemire run on Animal Man is great. Travel Foreman on art there. A really wild book. So good. Like a really like fitting and like deserving follow-up, I would say, to like the Morrison era.
Yeah.
One and incorporating more of the elements of like the kingdoms thing, right? Like they really made the red and the green more kind of tied together. So Animal Man's up there for sure. Swamp Thing, New 52 Swamp Thing is also very good.
Sure, yeah.
That's a really strong book. I like that one a lot. I mean, does Aquaman count as too mainstream? Because that book is probably the first best run of Aquaman since the 90s. But if that's too mainstream, then I guess oh man. Dial H, the New 52 Dial H is really interesting, really good. I think that's a solid one. Do you have New 52 era books that you really like?
Shishing Pizza?
Oh no. Oh, Slobodan Milosevic. I mean, this menu is insane. Ceviche, one onion ring, poutine.
What's less about the food, I think, at this point.
Yeah, true. A latte. A single Osama bin Laden.
Well, I haven't heard that name.
Do you have 3 favorite New 52 era books that aren't, like, by saying not mainstream, you can't throw like Court of Owls, like Batman kind of shit out there.
God, yeah. I mean, it's like Swamp Thing is great. Then, the Red Lanterns run is great.
Red Lanterns is good. Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah. The Dial H thing obviously is fucking dope. That the what is it called? The Manabuke Flash or whatever. What the fuck's his name? Manabuke.
Oh, Francis Manapul?
Yeah.
I think Flash counts as mainstream. There's always a Flash title.
Sure.
I mean, it is good. I agree, but,
Yeah, Morrison's action run. Yeah.
Demon Knights is a solid one. That's a cool one. It's like a medieval era one with Shining Knight and Vandal Savage. It's decent. It's kind of fun. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I think there's like a good OMAC run going on during that.
I see that OMAC one is a weird one for me. But,
really?
Yeah. But I think OMAC is also just a weird character.
Like,
I don't know that it's weirder than actual OMAC.
Sure, but. Yeah. All right. Well, with that, let's leave Threads and head to Blue Sky. The thing we do all the time, because we always ask from Blue Sky.
Blue to blue.
It was, hey there,
oh, fuck.
Mr. Blue Sky. Sky. Jesus Christ. Mosaic Comics asks, should both...
I shit myself yesterday.
Yeah, and the last time you were on this podcast.
No, that was just me shitting the bed.
Oh, sure.
It's different.
Should both Ma and Pa Kent be alive, or does Clark's character gain something from losing one of them?
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, I just on its surface, the big thing with Pa Kent dying is that it's a heart attack, and Clark can't save him. And it's a lesson for Clark that for all of his powers and all of his abilities, there are some things that he has to learn that he doesn't have control over. That is kind of, I would argue, a relatively important lesson for Superman. And yet, if you were to, over the course of retcons and crises and things like that, just bring the Waynes back, like, and I don't even mean like the alternate timeline, like Flashpoint Batman or anything, but just bring the Waynes back, that would like severely undo Batman's like existence.
Totally.
But if you just brought Pa Kent back and he is alive at this point, I don't think it would do that to Superman. Like, it's both, like, I think an important cornerstone for his character to learn that he can't control everything and he can't save everyone.
Mm-hmm.
But also at the same time, it doesn't feel as crucial to his existence as, like, Batman's parents dying are.
Sure.
And it's because Superman was already a hero.
Mm-hmm.
This is just that one kind of lesson about, like, and sometimes, like, it's the Picard thing. You can commit no faults and still fail,
Yeah.
That's life. It's like that sort of thing. So I don't know. I'm a little bit torn about it. I kind of I don't hate the idea of them both being alive, but yeah, it would be crazy to say that Pa Kent's death isn't important. Yeah. What's your feeling about it? You're a Superman guy. Like, how do you feel about Pa Kent? You prefer when he suicides by tornado? Yeah. Yeah. No, son, I planned this.
Yeah. Oh my God, there's a note.
Yeah. It blows into his hand. Like, what the fuck?
It was always meant to be this way. If you're reading
just
this,
like my psychic said.
If you're reading this, it worked.
I've been tornado chasing for the last 10 years trying to make this happen.
You know how hard that is with a superhero son?
Yeah. Anyway, people are going to be scared of you. Maybe don't save anyone. I've been Kevin Costner. See ya.
Yeah. Here's a good advice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing. Do I think that he gains anything from losing his parents? Not really. Like,
Right.
I think everything that he gains was from them being alive. Like, I don't think their death is something that he needs. Like,
Yeah.
narratively. Like,
I mean, he is already a hero.
Yeah. Like, I don't think narratively it gives him anything that, like, doesn't teach him any lessons. Like, it doesn't, like,
Really? The whole lesson I just said, you don't think
not
that's...
really, no.
Oh, see, I think that's in there. Just that, because like I feel like that's the thing where they put that in there, and that's kind of like the why Superman doesn't just do everything. Is that he has to, like, part of being human is that there are some failures and some stumbles and stuff. And no,
Yeah, not really. No.
Interesting.
I think that them passing is eventually throughout the story feels
Right.
natural and like a thing that should happen throughout as he ages
Yeah,
and,
sure,
and things like
yeah.
that. Like, I don't need to see like him and John with mom and pa like around Christmas or something. Like, I don't
Right.
I don't really need that. And I think that him sort of like having to step into the role of like the lead, like the head of the Kent family or whatever that means.
Yeah, I mean, he already is. I
Yeah,
would argue
yeah,
that
yeah.
Mom and Pa Kent, well, and certainly even just Ma Kent, way less present than like Jay and Judy Garrick or
Sure,
something like
yeah,
that
yeah,
for the
yeah.
Flash family.
Yeah, so I would say that, like, I mean, more from just like the, like, now he's the oldest one or whatever, but,
Right.
and I do like him having to like eventually take care of the farm when they're gone. Like, I like that sort of
Sure,
those
yeah.
narrative sort of thing, those stories and stuff. But yeah, no, I don't think that it's like do I think that they should be alive? I think maybe not. Like, I think
Right.
when he's Superman, they should probably be gone. But it also depends which version of that Superman origin you're
So
looking
you
at.
think though they should just both be gone at this point.
Yeah. Like, I don't think there's. I think
I don't necessarily disagree with that.
Yeah.
But then on the same token, I would say
I like the idea that
also-
he gains that.
I also think like Pa's death specifically, I would just keep that like separate, you know?
Sure. Yeah. And
Yeah.
I mean, here's the thing. Like, I'd like to see that what you're pulling from that. I just don't get that. But
Sure, yeah.
but I like that telling of it. Like, I think that's a good sort of thing where he learns that from that. But it's just not like a thing that I think he needs. Yeah.
Well, I think that was people's big issue with the tornado thing. It's like, well, like, he could have stopped that.
Yeah.
The whole thing with Pocket's death is that he can't.
Yes.
There's no power he has that could do it. Not that like my dad told me to let him die.
Yeah.
You know, like.
No, it's my time.
Do you remember the even crazier Kevin Costner Pa Kent thing, which is in Batman v Superman? Superman is up on a mountain and he has like a vision of his father, and he's like, "Oh my God, Dad, I don't know what to do." And his dad goes, "Remember that time that flood came in and the horses drowned? I can still hear the screaming." He just has this fucking insane story. He's like, "Thanks, Dad. I guess I'll fight Batman."
Yeah, I just can't talk about that other thing right now.
Yeah.
Still thinking about them screaming.
I'm still thinking about those horses screaming. It's like, yeah, good talk, Dad. Thank you.
Do horses scream? Yeah.
According to Kevin Costner's podcast in that movie, they sure do. At least when they're drowning.
Sure. Only one way to find out.
Yeah, I'll be right back.
Yeah.
Let's take a break. Yeah, what's the saddest thing about watching water polo? Seeing the horses drown.
That's the sound of hope, screaming and then silence. All right. Let's leave Blue Sky and head over to Instagram.
Now we're going to Instagram, take some questions and answer them.
Well, you were all over the fucking map with that tempo.
It's free jazz, baby.
Oh my! Zip,
You
zip,
can't-
zip, 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 wow.
You can't contain it.
Oh, yeah.
Containing jazz would be like
Containing
me-
the shit in your pants. God, Dr. DC, even after all these years, we always end up back on shit. And you.
Augusta peanut cheese poppers.
Yeah. Yep.
I'm sure another one will come to me.
Cool.
Our dictators of the world themed restaurant and Osama bin Laden. Dictators and him.
Terrorists.
Yeah,
Yeah.
terrorists,
People who just like frighten the world.
Yeah.
All right. First question from Instagram comes from Dan Singh, who asks,
I'll get a 9-inch Hero Hito.
who is your guys' ideal 7-man Justice League for James Gunn's DCU?
Oh, I'm going to interpret this question as being aggressively anti-woman.
I was going to say 7 men.
Yeah, the real heroes.
Real American heroes.
No, what's your ideal 7
people?
7-person lineup of the Justice League?
Okay. Gotta have Soups.
Yeah.
And gotta have Batman.
Yes.
Easy too. I would say Wonder Woman has to be on there.
Agreed.
And this is where it starts to break apart. I think you gotta have Martian Manhunter.
I agree.
Yeah, probably have to have Flash.
Yep.
It would be nice to have a Green Lantern.
Yes. You get one more slot.
Yeah, I know.
We agree on
Aquaman. Yeah. I mean, what else are you going to do?
That's kind of my 7.
I mean, it's a bit basic.
The only alt there is that I do like that JLU lineup where basically they swap out Aquaman for Hawkgirl.
Sure.
But in an ideal world, I get more than 7. But like really 7, I go to the original 7. That's like my...
That was me not even trying to. That's just not, me like...
That's also not to say that I insist it must be Barry and Hal, but it's no. Flash, Green Lantern, like even if we're doing like JLA rules when it was like Kyle Rayner and Wally or whatever, it's like Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, Flash, GL, Martian Manhunter, Aquaman. That's kind of the Justice League.
Like you can't.
I mean, you know me, I'm an old school, but like I love the Justice League International, but I don't go like that's the Justice League. You know what I mean? Like every other one feels. I mean, I like when there's more than 7, but if you have 7 and they aren't the 7, I kind of go like, oh, okay. It always feels like a take, not like just a thing. You know?
Well, this is the thing, which is like the James Gunn Justice League you could potentially play with a bit more.
I mean, I hope they've got more than 7, but who are the first 7 going to be? I mean, we know that some characters are going to be in that Superman movie, like Hawkgirl will be in there, so who knows? Maybe she's on the Justice League.
Yeah, maybe.
Like, Metamorpho. Like at that point, it's like the Justice League must be more than 7 members. But Guy Gardner is in there, so I wouldn't be surprised to see James Gunn have a lot of JLI influence in things. Who knows? Maybe in his world, it's kind of more like that 80s, 90s world where Superman and Batman and Wonder Woman weren't on the Justice League. Where they stepped away and other people were the Justice League.
Then it's like at that point, it's like, here's the ultimate problem is that in my head, I'm like, well, then it would be nice to maybe have like a Captain Marvel, like Shazam type character, but it's like, are we getting the Zachary Levi? Because he doesn't really fit to me in the James Gunn.
I suspect that would be different.
A different character.
I was just even naming characters. I wasn't even thinking of actors and stuff like that.
Like it would be, I mean, not, again, like it would be nice to have some, like a Booster in there maybe, and Beetle.
I mean, again, if they're doing like a JLI kind of thing, then, Booster, Beetle, Guy Gardner, like you start putting that Justice League together, you go like, that makes some sense, but... Yeah, I don't know. It's way too early to know, I think. I wouldn't be surprised to see a lot of that, like, Giffen, DeMatteis era Justice League kind of stuff in there, but...
It's tough.
Yeah.
All right, next question comes from Sticks Figures, who asks, is there any chance that Damian, Connor Kent, and now Lizzie would ever actually take the place of the main DC Trinity, or simply Clark, Diana, and Bruce letting someone else pick up the gauntlet?
I mean, my big gripe with this is that it wouldn't be Connor. It'd be John.
Sure.
The young Trinity that we've set up now are the actual children.
Yeah.
It's like a weird stance for DC to take. It's like a hereditary lineage. But it's John, Damian, and Lizzie, whose her name is Trinity. Like her hero name is Trinity.
Sure, yeah.
But like the three of them, that's what they're setting up as, like, in the far future, they would be the ones to do it. What they've done with characters like Tim Drake or Connor Kent, or, you know, I mean, it would be a stretch to say they've done this with Cassie Sandsmark or anything like that, but they sort of put them, they find alternate parallel paths or whatever. But like the real, like, inheritors of these things, it tends to come back to the kids, like their actual kids, you know. Lots of people have been Wonder Woman. Artemis has been Wonder Woman. Hippolyta has been Wonder Woman. It's not like it's exclusive, but like in that sort of emotional sense of like, you earned this, you're doing this. Yeah, it's going to be John, Damian, and Lizzie. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. But we've talked about it. Like, I also think that like the view has matured a little bit, because I think, you know, back during Nightfall, people were pissed that Dick Grayson, like Batman, overlooked Dick Grayson to be his replacement and went to Jean-Paul Valley. Now it's crazy that he went to this guy like totally out of, you know, but also I think we've come around to the idea of like, no, like Dick is Nightwing. He's better that way. And right now, like, the Justice League aren't Earth's protectors. The Titans are. It's not that the Titans become the Justice League. They just go like, no, we're the Titans. Yeah. That's our team. And now we're charged with this. And that idea of like just being okay with your own path thing is such a piece in there that in a way it's actually kind of opened up those paths for the kids of the actual Justice Leaguers, because now it's like, I don't think Tim wants to fight Damian to be the Batman. I don't think,
yeah.
You know, like, I don't know that Connor wants to be Superman. You know, like, I think we've actually kind of moved past that in a way, which is sort of interesting. So I don't know that it feels like a snub so much as like, now these kids have their own legacies, and that's the one they get from their parents, and everyone else gets inspired by or participates with or is part of, but they kind of do their own parallel thing. And I don't know. I kind of like that.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not following enough to see like that Trinity happening, but
it's pretty new. Yeah. Like introducing Lizzie is pretty new.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Adolf Fischler.
Vladimir Rubin.
Oh,
fuck.
You just busted this wide open.
Yeah.
Or Cuban.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, Vladimir Cuban.
Yeah. Which is kind of confusing it, I think.
Sure.
Hang on. You remember that guy that was like rebelling against Putin? And he got shot down in that plane?
Yeah.
Prigozhin?
Yeah.
What if you ordered a bunch of Prigyoza?
Or Pirogio?
Piroghin. That's good. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise.
Yeah, we are Mr. Imagination.
We did it.
Next question from Dan Hummer 97, who asks, is Elongated Man still alive in current continuity? And if so, do you think he could carry on ongoing or miniseries by himself?
He is alive again. It was sort of in question for a bunch of the New 52 until Gail Simon's Secret Six run during that era.
Fidel Castro.
Yeah. I'm having the soup. Can I have a few Fidel casseroles with it?
Sorry, I just had to get that out.
It's so stupid. I'll get the mouse Satan. Elongated Man, it was sort of in question for a bit. So he, you know, obviously bad things happened to Sue Dibney, and she was killed in Identity Crisis. And that set Ralph on this really kind of dark path. And then through 52, he was trying to bring her back and then trying to do this thing. And he has this big ultimate kind of standoff with Felix Faust. He gets the best of Faust because he's a good detective and he figured it out, but he does die. And then he and Sue were ghost detectives for a little bit, which is a fun idea. And then post Flashpoint in the New 52, it was a big question mark if he even existed or if he was alive or anything like that. And then in Gail Simone's Secret Six run during that, which is another great New 52 era book, there's this character called Big Shot, who's this kind of big, like Harvey Bullock looking guy who could also like kind of grow big, almost like the Mr. Hyde in LXG.
Oh God, yeah.
Not quite that deformed, but like that was sort of he sort of would Hulk out, but not like crazy.
Sure, yeah.
And then the big reveal was that Big Shot was actually Ralph Dibny in disguise because the Riddler had Sue and stuff like that. So they were back.
Oh, wow.
And so they do exist in continuity. They're alive. They're there. But what has happened to them? Great question. We haven't really checked in a while.
Yeah, it would be nice to, though.
Elongated Man has only ever had one 4-issue miniseries, and it's not good.
Yeah.
I don't think that's because I don't think he can hold it down. I don't know that, like, yeah, I don't know why it hasn't happened.
Would you want to see like a team up Elongated Man, Plastic Man?
I mean, maybe.
I think it could be fun.
I mean, it could be. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not that interested in that. I don't know why. I don't know if it's as simple as they have the same powers or what it is, but yeah, I mean, I wish they brought him back a bit more. I wish we'd see him a bit more.
I would love to see the two of them just like talk about their powers, like
right. I mean, because they are distinct powers, different abilities.
Yeah, but and just like have them sort of like, just like have like a watching some fucking tentacle monster fuck deep conversation.
Yeah. Nice.
Yeah.
That's a deep cut for our podcast.
I know.
Yeah.
All right. Next question from Copy 801, who asks, if you could hold any position of power as a human in the DC universe, what would it be? And how would you totally abuse that power?
I mean, this sounds
doggy
like
style.
Sounds like a Richard question.
Missionary.
Sorry, that's a position of power.
I'm on top.
Yeah, cool, man.
Nice. What do they mean by position of power?
Well, like,
because I mean, I know that it recently was shifted by Black Adam.
Well, yeah, the hierarchy of power has changed. But what position in that hierarchy? I guess what they're saying is there are humans that wield influence and, and resources and things like that in DC.
Sure.
Who of them do you think you like their position? Like, I'll throw it out there right now. This is a real in character one for me, but it's Waller.
Oh,
I'd want to take Waller's position where she has all of the influence. She's got dirt on everyone. She can strong arm anyone. She's also back in the shadows. Sure. She's sort of like the shadow manipulator behind things. She's not necessarily the most powerful person, but she does have she's got plans on plans on plans and designs and schemes. And she does even manage to play people like Lex Luthor sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
Waller would be a person that's the one I'd want to take because that's kind of my jam.
Yeah. I mean,
I think you're too overt for that. I mean, I'm tempted to say Luthor for the second week in a row.
Yeah. I think, yeah, it's not Lord because I don't like sort of his approach.
Although he is manipulative.
You're suggesting something?
Oh, no, I'm not suggesting.
Nice. Wait.
Go listen to the double from last week.
Oh, fuck it, Jesus Christ.
Or 2 weeks ago, the advice one.
Yeah. I like where Fox has been lately.
Like Lucius Fox?
Yeah.
Yeah, sure, yeah.
That's nice. But
that's a good one. I like that one.
Yeah. But, yeah, probably Luther.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think there's also there's military leaders. There's General Eiling or
I don't want to do that.
Or Sam Lane or stuff like that.
No, I don't want to do that.
Fair
no,
enough.
I want to do evil and pretend like I'm doing good. Anyways,
just gonna let that sit there.
Next question from Keegan Steedman, who asks, name one character aside from Batman that you think gets too much spotlight in DC. It's always nice to have some other heroes get some love, but who has been given a chance numerous times and DC needs to stop trying?
Not a hero. And admittedly, since their big thing, we haven't really seen them since Dark Crisis.
Mm-hmm.
Deathstroke.
Sure.
Deathstroke, like certainly up to and including Dark Crisis, one of the most oversaturated characters in DC.
Yeah.
If not in just leading their own title, but like constantly showing up in other ones and always being the like every time like the Suicide Squad or someone has to go up against someone even worse, it's always fucking Deathstroke. Anytime you need an assassin, it's always fucking Deathstroke.
Yeah.
Deathstroke was like a highly oversaturated character in DC for a while there.
Still though?
No, not since Dark Crisis.
Sure.
Dark Crisis, like he took over the Secret Society of Supervillains. He was like a main antagonist of that one. And that made sense because they were basically putting him and Nightwing against each other. They're classic arch rivals, you know? And since then though, no, all's been quiet on the Slade front, which is fine for me. But really, I'd make a really strong argument that like the 15 years before that were like Deathstroke heavy.
Yeah, I mean he has been used for like,
and in games and in, you know, they cast Joe Manganiello. I know nothing came of that, but like they were like, we got to use Deathstroke. You got to use Deathstroke. Deathstroke's gonna be in here. He's in Arkham Origins. He's in Arkham Knight. You gotta like, we gotta use Deathstroke. We gotta use Deathstroke. And it's like I don't know. There's other characters. I think it's okay.
Well, and
I think put him in Arrow. They put him in like. He was around a lot. They made him a big thing in that sort of DC AMU, the one that was like New 52 styled. He had a whole thing with Damian and all this kind of like stuff in that. Like they really went all in on Slade Wilson for a bit there.
Well, and I think having somebody who like could be challenging for like a Bat family member is always nice.
Sure.
Having like a classic like villain for the Teen Titans, right, I think is nice. Like I get it, but yeah, it's a character that inherently I don't find that interesting.
Yeah, I mean, I think he can be interesting, but he's also, you know, I don't know that I need that much of him. I just think he was just overexposed. Do you have a different character that you think maybe gets too much shine?
I mean, it feels like a bit
not compared to Batman, obviously, but like it on their own proportional level.
Sure, it feels a bit like a cop out because it's kind of like saying Batman, but it's the Joker. I mean,
sure,
the Joker feels like he's been slightly like overdone, and like it's like the craziest DC villain ever, and it's like that was awesome, but it's like. Are all right, but like let's like take a break on him for a little bit. He's a character like there's a lot. He has a like Batman obviously has an incredible rogues gallery, and like it doesn't have to be always the Joker as like the ultimate evil. So sure. I'm a bit slightly over that character. I think
that's fair. I will say it's been. I haven't necessarily hated main continuity Joker stuff over the last while, because basically since the New 52, the big change for Joker is that he knows who Batman is.
Sure,
and he still does. And I think to their credit, the people that have been writing Joker in those arcs since and including Endgame, I think they've done a good job of like of making that character still make sense. And like in that new kind of status quo, there've been a couple of interesting twists that way. I do think though, where I get really tired of the Joker is like every Elseworld thing, every other, like every time there's like an extra book, it's a Joker thing or something like that, as opposed to just like, I think they've used him maybe the right amount in the main continuity books, but it's all the extra stuff where it's like, sort of here's a Black Label thing, or here's a or whatever.
Everything gets a Joker version.
Yeah,
I'm just sort of like
maybe just a little much. Yeah,
I think I have a slightly controversial one.
Okay,
and mostly just because this isn't a character that I've ever really connected with.
Okay,
Green Arrow.
I mean, I wouldn't say he's really over.
Sure, fair.
I mean, he barely sometimes has his own book.
I know. It's just, I mean, it gets so hard once you're like,
No, I know you, but like I would throw Barry out there.
Sure.
Even with Wally back, even with Wally taking over his own book, you could tell, like, always on the fringes when they did that 1 minute war thing. It's like, and here's Barry, and you're like, okay,
Yeah, no, that's fair.
Let's just pump the brakes.
No, that's fair.
Like
that's a good one.
Yeah.
I like that. All right, next question comes to us from Delgado Andrew, who asks, DC gives you a whole universe / imprint to work with, a la White Knight or Scott Snyder's rumored line. What's your pitch?
So the thing with those, like that kind of an imprint or a line or whatever.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, an imprint is slightly different. Like Bendis had that like Wonder Comics imprint, which was a little more like youth oriented. But there was a Wonder Twins book. There was a Dial H for Hero book. There was a Young Justice book. Amethyst, Princess of Gem World had a book. Like those were all Wonder Comics ones. Or Gerard Way had the Young Animal, which was like Doom Patrol. Cave Carson has a cybernetic eye. Shade the Changing Girl. There were a few in there. Mother Panic. I think Far Sector was also a Young Animal, although that was a little bit different. But you could see in each of those, they sort of just had like a little narrower mission. They were, almost all of them were still like continuity things. It wasn't like totally their own universes. Not like that White Knight thing that's listed. But what would you, if they were like, you could have an imprint, it'll be like 4 or 5 titles with your own kind of like lens, but it's still basically part of DC. What would you do?
I mean, if I was going to create my own imprint, it would. I mean, the logical thing is to like make it the types of books that I like specifically. I think it would make the most sense. It sucks because John's already kind of did the like youth version thing, because that's probably where I would go, is like more like a YA type.
I mean, you could just do it again.
Yeah, like I would love to do like a Bendis like kind of like, imprint. Like, I think that would be really, really cool.
Sure, yeah.
I mean, the other thing is another version that's already done, which is like the Sector sort of thing, which is like, I'd love to do like a near future sci-fi, like, kind of thing. I think those are probably the things that I really like, cyberpunky kind of stuff.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, I think what always has my heart is that like those like YA type books. Like,
right.
I think, now does that like Gotham high school? No, maybe not. I don't really know what that looks like. It might be nice to just like focus more on like Jaime and like do those stories. But yeah, I don't know, that's a tough question. I don't know, what about you? What do you lean towards?
I mean, I agree, it's a tough question. I don't know that I have something like queued up,
just like
I think
dramatic fantasy thing. Yeah.
Well, actually, I was maybe going to say the opposite. I think if I was doing an imprint, I would maybe want to have like more fun, borderline silly.
Oh, interesting.
Kind of books.
Plastic Man-y kind of stuff?
A little just like fun and funny. Not like totally devoid of emotional stakes, but like like lighter.
Beetle and Booster.
Yeah, like, things
what we were
like,
hoping that Blue and Gold book was going to be.
Yeah, stuff more like that, where it would have maybe a little bit more of that sensibility to, like Fire and Ice, Welcome to Smallville is a okay book, but it's kind of in the zone of the thing I'm thinking of.
Sure, yeah.
That, or like that Bizarro book where like the Heath Corson one where Bizarro and Jimmy go on a road trip or whatever.
Yeah.
Those types of books, I think.
Yeah, me too.
Like that, just in terms of like setting not a theme, but like not no theme, but but just setting like a tone or a sort of mission for that imprint would to embrace the kind of funner, more silly side of
agreed. Yeah.
Stuff.
That's exactly what I would
whatever those characters would be.
Yeah.
Like and DC has lots of examples of individual books where I'd be like, that would be on the imprint, that would be on the imprint. Like I definitely know the types of books I'm talking about, but I don't know which ones I would just pick for the lineup. Like if I was making it, you know what I mean?
Sure. Yeah. I agree. Yeah, I'd love something in like the tone of like the Ed Brisson, like New Mutants.
Sure.
Something like that. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. All right, next question, which means that we're leaving Instagram and heading over to Reddit.
Where everyone's nice and no one's ever mean.
First question comes from Draco Folly, who asks, what's something everyone gets wrong about your favorite character? Ooh, I mean, you've got a pretty divisive favorite character.
I mean, the thing everyone gets wrong about my favorite character is they think nothing changed or happened with him since the 60s.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a little bit different now. Like, the Momoa Aquaman definitely changed some perception, like just in the broad popular sense. The 90s hook hand Aquaman definitely changed some perception too. But I do think people still think ultimately, whether he looks cool or not, he's just a guy that talks to fish. I do feel like we drop, and even the Aquaman movie, like the second one, somehow manages to drop the ball on, like, he's a king.
Yeah.
You know? My number one gripe with Aquaman 2 is actually that there's a couple of moments where he is very kingly. And I'm like, wow, like he's really living up to it. And then they go, anyway. And then like, what if he crushed a beer? And then you just kind of like turn and look over here. Instead you go like, but that was character growth. That was like, and it showed that he had earned it and he had trained and he had the maturity in him. He just needed to believe in himself, you know, like all that kind of shit. And even the movie was like, no, it's better when he's drunk. And it's like, oh, like, even for me, an Aquaman fan, I was like, oh no.
Well, yeah, and they didn't fix it in 3. Yeah.
So I do think a thing that like people get wrong about Aquaman is like really reducing him. Like he's got as much kind of depth of trauma and complexity and knowledge and things like that as Superman or Batman or what. Like he's as interesting and layered as any of them, and I think people just overlook that. Less so now. And certainly the Jeff Johns run of Aquaman in terms of comics also helped with that. But yeah,
I think with
Aquaman jokes abound still, you know.
I think with Superman, the biggest thing is the opposite, which is that
right.
Like everyone's just like, well, he can do anything and everything, and he's like invincible, and that's boring.
Yes, yeah.
And the reality is like he doesn't really like he doesn't like to punch his way through things. Like that's the thing. They like good Superman stories don't really use those parts of him. If anything, they use his ability to like endure rather than could destroy.
And the feats of Superman are supposed to be like impressive.
Yeah.
But that's not his superpower.
No, I think if anything,
it's how good he is, right? Like the feats are impressive because so you can go like, holy shit, he caught an airplane. That's cool.
Yeah.
But like lots of people could catch an airplane. The thing that makes him special is like who he is.
Yeah. If anything, for me, it's always about his endurance. It's like his ability to just like deal with shit.
Yeah. He's resolute.
Yeah.
The immovable object.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right. Next question from Nobody89, who asks, who has the deadliest rogues gallery?
Ooh.
The deadliest. Because I think like Batman's got maybe the most interesting, but I wouldn't say the deadliest.
I mean, just in terms of like their capacity, their ability to kill, it'd be hard not to lean on Superman or Flash.
Sure.
You know, Flash, all those evil speedsters, the power at their disposal, the ability to fuck with time and space.
I mean, wouldn't Superman count in that too? Yeah.
But Superman totally, and also, you know, like all those Kryptonians, you know, all the ones in the Phantom Zone, all that. Like there's a
power that you have to go against Superman is so mighty.
Totally. So there, in terms of that kind of threat level, both of those ones I would put up there. Flash has a pretty decent rogues gallery, although it is a weird one where there's a couple of big ones and then
some
a bunch
really
of
small
like crooks who are important but like not in the same category at all.
No.
You know, Batman's are mostly equivalent
medium
to each other.
Yeah.
just in terms of a level of power.
They're slightly
resources,
above crooks. Yeah.
They're slightly above crooks. Obviously, the Joker gets his but really, like, the Joker and the Penguin can still stand in a room like,
they're still guys.
but also, like, when Reverse Flash and, like, Mirror Master, like, look, Reverse Flash is like, and who the fuck are you? Like,
yeah, like most Batman's guys aren't like super powered.
Yeah, exactly.
They're just kind of guys.
Yes, right. Salami Hussein. No.
Is that what you've been doing?
Sorry. Oh, I've got one. Paul Hotpot.
Or Paul Hot Pocket. Yeah.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
But yeah, I mean, Wonder Woman's is a weird one because you have some like powerful but human, and then you have some like gods. Like Wonder Woman's is a weird one. You get a character like what's the like Angleman or something like that.
Yeah. Big Fu.
Yeah. Dr. Psycho, though, is interesting. Dr. Poison, a lot of doctors. Dr. Cyber.
ASL.
Yeah. I mean, listen, back in the early 2000s, parents were really worried that their kids were Dr. Cybering.
And now with a new TELUS app, people are Dr. Cybering.
I mean, that's a joke only for you.
Sure.
I mean, does TELUS even exist in the States?
No.
Yeah, there you go.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Deadliest. Green Lantern's Rogues Gallery is full of lots of like planet killers.
Oh,
They're
They're
up there, I would say. Atrocitus and Sinestro alone are pretty big. Necron is like a manifestation of death.
Yeah.
Like there's some decent Green Lantern ones. Everyone's got a few, Ma'ala Fa'ak wiped out the Martians.
Jeez, yeah.
So there's
so
that.
Maybe it's lanterns? Like,
well, Ma'ala Fa'ak is Martian Manhunters.
Yeah,
but the lanterns I'd put up there too, certainly just on the scale.
Yeah, it feels like that might be the most deadly.
Yeah, it's tough because it also feels unfair to be like, well, Green Lantern has all of the universe to look at. Batman's in one city. It sort of doesn't feel fair, but even for scale, though, yeah.
Next question from Cynics79, who asks, why are DC's pantheon of heroes and villains better than that of Marvel's?
I mean, a cynic would 79. Why would I bother to give it back?
Yeah, jeez.
79. That's where one person eats the other person's ass.
Can we 79 tonight?
Yeah. I'll face this way. They're top-tailed.
I'm just trying to...
I guess that's more of an 89. Anyway.
It is kind of eating someone's ass if 79? You look at the number. Yeah. So like if the top of the 7 is the dick.
No, it's the butt. They're going like this.
No. So I'm saying, but if the thing jutting out of the 7 is the dick.
I see. Yeah.
And that's their ass. And so it's the head eating their ass. Yeah.
70. You want a 79 tonight? I'll face away and you can eat my
I don't want to look at you. It's disgusting.
What was the question?
Why are DC's pantheon of heroes and villains better than that of Marvel's?
I mean, the thing that I've always come back to is I like the big, like, archetype kind of storytelling. Like, I like myths.
Gods.
I like myths. I like fantasy. I like allegory. I like that kind of stuff. And DC always structured itself more like that. Whereas Marvel's whole, like, deliberate thing was like, but what would it be like for more regular people to get powers? And it's not to say like in DC, quote, regular people get powers, but it's that it happens to them in a way that is like mythic.
Yeah.
Like they like it's just part of their origin
Destiny,
story of being these larger than life figures.
They started as more than that already, I think, in a lot of ways.
Well, yeah, I mean, they're more like, the Greek heroes, like Perseus or something like that. It was I guess he's normal, but all really like, Achilles started normal and then they dipped him in the thing. He was always going to be this.
Yeah.
So the DC characters always felt more like that, whereas Marvel, like their whole deliberate intention was to be like
humanizing.
What if a regular person got these powers? How would they live with it? How would they deal with that? Was the whole thing about every power is a curse too, and stuff like that. So, I mean, that's not really a comment on whether it's better or worse, but that's why I think I like DC resonates with me, is because that's the way my brain's wired up. The stuff I like are those kind of big, broad, archetype kind of storytelling things. It's probably also why I like stuff like Shakespeare and like classical theater more than I like real naturalistic modern theaters. That I like these things, and it's like we just reinterpret this. It's like it's broader, it's maybe less specific, but it's like more universal. Like we're
slightly
touching
more esoteric.
We're touching on like the foundations of like human creativity and stuff, as opposed to like some sort of hyper specific version of if this and this happened, this is how you would react. That's that's very broad, and certainly nowadays I'm not even sure it holds up anymore, but that's my general feeling about it.
I think the only thing I would add on is a really specific thing, but I prefer hidden identities, and Marvel doesn't really do that as much. Like you've got Spider-Man and Mrs. Marvel, but for largely like Thor,
certainly not anymore. I think like back in the 70s, they maybe like Tony Stark maybe did a better job of hiding it.
But like even still, like that's kind of like Tony Stark like came out pretty quickly.
Yeah, I'm
Thor, Captain America, like these are all people that people knew who these people were.
Yeah, Thor briefly, because he was Donald Blake.
Sure,
but yes, no, I mean you're right, and definitely the arc of it has been like, everyone knows
who everybody is.
Yeah.
And I like that about the this dichotomy of having to like hide your identity while doing good and being like unknown and
yeah, I agree.
All right, next question from Vuren, who asks, "What are your top 3 DC animated movies and why?"
Top 3. I'll just go with my gut on this. Batman Under the Red Hood.
Yeah.
Just like a really perfect distillation of that story. There's no fat on that film, and the voice performances are great.
Yeah.
Fucking Bruce Greenwood and Jensen Ackles. It's so good. And really like emotional. Great movie. Batman Mask of the Phantasm.
Yeah, it's on mine.
Is it's so sad, and it's a thing that most Batman movies don't crack, is how sad he is.
Yeah.
The closest live action one is maybe Batman Returns. Even the Batman doesn't quite get as much sad as it does angry. Right? Like, but Batman Mask of the Phantasm really, really taps into that thing about Bruce. Like that scene where he's in the graveyard and he's like, "Can't I be happy? Don't I deserve to?" And you're like, "Oh, Jesus." Like, this is a kid's fucking...
Yeah, it's so good.
So that one, so those two for sure. And then, an animated one. I always liked Green Lantern First Flight.
Great.
I think that's a really good one. It's got good voice acting. It's a really solid, Green Lantern training day kind of thing with Sinestro. It's Green Lantern First Flight is way up there for me. Yeah. How about you?
I'll say Flashpoint Paradox.
It's pretty good considering how like I actually think it might be better than the book.
It's fucking great.
I think I might like it better than actual like Flashpoint.
It's fucking great. Probably Mask of the Phantasm.
Yeah.
And then Teen Titans Go to the Movies.
Teen Titans Go to the Movies is so fucking good. God, what a funny movie.
Yeah. It's so good.
Yeah. One of my favorite bits in any movie is as the credits are rolling.
Oh, yeah.
Robin grapples up to the screen, goes, "Quick, kids, ask your parents where babies come from."
So funny. So fucking funny. All right, next question from Keystone Jack, who asks, "Is Superman's mullet canon? And if so, Which hero and or villain is most likely to give Kal-El shit about it?
Ooh, well, I mean, it is canon because his death is still canon, and as is his return.
Yeah.
And the mullet's part of that, so it's absolutely canon that Superman had that like fucking rockin' mullet.
Yeah. Feels like a Green Arrow thing to make fun of him.
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, they certainly in that era, pretty contentious relationship.
Yeah.
You know, we've talked about like Superman at Green Arrow's funeral being like, I don't know if I have anything nice to say.
Yeah.
Like, that's fucking Superman. You know?
Yeah.
I'll tell you one person who couldn't razz him about it. It's fucking Luthor. Because for a baldy, Luthor has had some wild hair.
Really?
And when he was like posing as his own son, and all this kind of shit, like he's had beards, he's had long hair, he's had like Luthor has no right. I think. Do you know who I think would razz him is Metallo? Because John Corbin is like a military guy, and he's a little kind of blue collar. I think Metallo would probably razz Superman about the hair a little bit. I think a lot of Superman's bad guys are like, their goals are above that. But Metallo, I think, isn't above that. But like Zod wouldn't be like, I am here, kneel before. Did you do something? You know, like, I don't think he cares that much.
Kneel before. What the fuck?
Holy shit. Is that a business in the front? It's Biz-L in the front and Part-L in the back. I think a lot of Superman's bad guys have like bigger fish to fry. Atomic Skull or Metallo feel a little bit more blue collar. That like maybe they'd be like, "Yeah, you ever think of cutting your hair, you hippie or like whatever?" Like,
sure, yeah,
I could see that, but
maybe Midnighter.
Yeah, Midnighter would definitely comment on it, 100%.
Yeah,
that's true.
All right, next question from Not I Noobmaster69.
Cool.
It's not a 79, but it's all right.
Yeah. Well, sometimes you gotta give a little bit.
Give a little bit of
this 9 to 6.
Give a little bit of my ass for you.
Da-da.
Such a good song.
Yeah.
Can Dr. Manhattan
eat a little bit?
There we go. Yeah, there it is. God, I hope there isn't poo.
Trying to think of something from Muammar Gaddafi.
Muammar Gaddafi fettuccine.
I love that, like, the countries don't line up at all.
You want to try Muammar Gaddafi?
You said Vladimir Cuban.
Look, if we start trying to do that, it's going to be a nightmare. Can Dr. Manhattan create / do anything? It feels like he should be the most powerful being. But then we see characters who are scaled above him. Is he on the same level as the Presence and Lucifer?
I don't know if it's just from watching Supernatural or what. I'm about to say things that DC like fully contradicts.
Sure.
But I think this is my evolving take on this.
Mm-hmm.
And part of it is also that Dan McClellan guy that I like.
Oh, yeah.
So I've talked about it before where it's like all of the different pantheons exist in DC, right? But the Presence is like the big one, right? That we talk about. That's God.
Yeah.
But we actually know that like, well, I guess we don't know for sure. Suppose that the Presence could just be a manifestation of the source or the overvoid or whatever, right? Possibly. But the Presence has a real like liminal existence as well, like in space and time. And so up to this point, I feel like this is true. It's obvious that DC's thing is like the Abrahamic God is the real one, and then also Zeus is here.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like that's, they don't never come out and just say it, but like it's pretty much like how it works. But this Dan McClellan guy, it was really got to me. He's this Bible scholar, for those that don't know, on TikTok. And his thing is just about like reading the text as text, which as a theater nerd, I fucking love. Like that's what you do with Shakespeare, right? You read it as it was written to learn truths about the thing. And he's like God in the Hebrew Bible is like just the God of Israel. He's just their patron God. He's not the only God.
Yeah.
And so now I'm like, if we weave in that idea that like worship augments your power or influence or things like that, I think you could justify like the position that the presence and the specter and that have right now just because of belief. Now, this doesn't take into account that Earth isn't the only planet, but let's just leave that for now. For now. But you could do that and be like, well, that's why they're so powerful and prevalent and things like that. But they're also just among the pantheons because there's, this god of death or this god of death. We also know that some ideas have different incarnations. Like, so death, there's death of the endless. And death of the endless is death, like the idea of death. That's who she is. But then there's Necron, who is like kind of like the guardian of this like limbo realm between life and death. And then there's also the Black Racer, who's the god of death, who's the new god of death. He's the one capable of killing new gods and returning them to the source. Yeah. And then there's also the there's the Black Flash that returns speedsters to the Speed Force. Like, there are so many versions of death, but they're all fragments of the idea of death, like death of the endless.
Yeah.
So at that point, you start going like, all of these gods, there's various gods of lightning or thunder, there's various gods of, good and bad, various gods of all these kind of things. You go like, at a certain point, they're probably all fractal, incarnations of just like central ideas.
Totally. Yeah.
So to me, I think I no longer, where I'm going with this is I don't think I put the presence out in the overvoid anymore. Or if I do, it's not like God stroking his beard.
Yeah.
It's just like the source.
Sure.
And then how does that manifest as some sort of like, what's the voice of the source in our universe? It might be the presence. It might be God.
Yeah.
With capital G. You know what I mean?
No. Yeah.
And that's the closest I think I will ever believe in a like actual power.
Sure.
Yeah.
All right. Well, with that, let's leave Reddit and head on over to the doc scored.
Fuck.
Come on, Mr. Imagination.
I got this. Doc scored.
Jesus, sunshine.
Sunrise, sunset.
Yeah, sorry.
Some directing Fiddler on the Roof.
Yes. Is that the second one you've done?
Probably.
Yeah.
I must have done If I Would a Doc Score.
Yeah. You definitely did. All right.
Dogs, scored, dogs.
Shambling Mooned a Mound of Flowers asks,
Shambling Mooned of Flowers. I'm sure that was what it was.
Yeah. Dear Mr. Imagination and the Big Hitter.
Fuck you.
If you had to send a different animal crashing into Bruce Wayne's study to inspire him, what animal are you choosing?
So instead of a bat flying, yes, father, I shall become a bat.
Yeah.
Oh, probably like a bull moose.
Moose man.
It gets lost and scared and runs through. Yes, father, I shall become a moose. Instead of a cape, he just glides with the big fucking antlers. Or he doesn't glide at all because he's not trying to fly. He just becomes like a sort of like rhino figure, like from Spider-Man. He's just like ramming.
Sure.
With these fucking antlers on his head.
Sure.
Yeah.
What
about you?
So what I'm trying to do right now is go, okay.
Also, sorry, in mine, when Bruce Wayne is a boy, he falls into a well filled with moose.
Yeah, still a well.
I just want to be really clear.
Yeah.
Cave moose.
Okay, obviously.
Yeah.
What else would it be?
Yeah.
Trampling him, yeah. What I'm trying to do is go, okay, he still wants to fight crime, so he's still gonna like do martial arts training.
Right.
He's gonna like try to become the best of all those things. Okay,
Yes.
so like what else works, right? Like,
Well, but he didn't say, I'm going to be Batman. I'll train now. He had done all the training. Then he came back. He's like, I need a symbol.
oh sure,
And the
yeah,
bat
yeah,
crashes
yeah,
through.
yeah,
He goes,
yeah,
I'll
yeah.
become a bat.
Yeah.
So the training's done.
But that's what I mean. So
Now
that
he
like
just needs a
it's
symbol.
still something that like works with
Right, sure.
that sort of like training and approach and
Yeah,
stuff
yeah,
like
yeah.
that, right? That like is, I think that like still works for the vibe he's going for, which makes it slightly harder. I do like the idea that he like becomes a snake,
Oh, sure. Yeah.
and so it's like, but then it's like, does he like like roll around on the ground?
Yeah. Yeah. Snake Man.
Yeah, like, like
Yeah, Snake Man is that's not. Could you imagine if we lived in the universe where you're playing Arkham City, you just hear a guy go, "It's the snake." I love that meme where it's that picture of Joe Rogan in the ice bath. Joe Rogan looks like the guy in Arkham City that yells, "It's the bat."
oh yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, Snake Man is good. I like that. You know, like other ones that would be like similar to a bat, but less good
Sure,
would be
yeah.
like Squirrel Man.
Oh yeah. Which I
Or-
mean, Squirrel Girl's already a thing.
I mean, it wasn't at the time.
Sure. Yeah.
Basically, this question is like pitch a bunch of Bob Kane ideas.
Yeah.
And someone else would have to bill finger to be good.
Yeah. Do you want to get Bill fingered?
Oh, before or after you 79?
Arnar is a snake.
Arnar. Oh, the Snake Man.
The kangaroo.
Don't you know who I am?
I'm the kangaroo.
On the Snake Man. A kangaroo. Yes, father, I shall become a kangaroo. Fucking boing, boing, boing.
Did you hear about that?
Instead of punching criminals, he just like fucking kicks, like always just fucking full front kicks.
Did you see the in like Ontario the kangaroo that got loose?
No.
So
From where? Like a zoo?
yeah. So very recently it got loose and it was just like running around fucking Oshawa.
From the Toronto Zoo?
From like it's been hanging around Oshawa, and it punched a cop in the face.
I mean, hey, listen, that kangaroo said A cab.
It's like, they were trying to grab it and it just fucking squared up and punched him in the fucking face.
Wow.
Yeah, it's
yeah,
awesome.
I mean, also, it's like the first thing they teach you about kangaroos.
Yeah.
Just don't, man. They're jacked to shit. They're
Yeah,
so
yeah.
fucking muscular.
Yes, father. I'll become a gator.
Oh, yeah.
Gator man.
Well, that's like, yeah, that would be like Louisiana Batman.
Oh, yeah, right. I'll become the gator man.
I mean, it's Killer Croc.
oh,
yeah.
yeah, that's right. No, you're right. That's true.
Waylon Jones.
All right. Now, next question.
Okay.
Tone DX 2049 asks, which character do you think protects social justice the most? Which do you think has mixed up views on social justice? Are there any arcs that exhibit social justice issues on either side of the issue? Thank you, Tone DX.
Yeah, I mean, there's lots. I mean, the thing is, even the heroes that do a pretty good job of it, a hero like even Batman or Green Arrow, who in their civilian identities also run charities or like
Mhm.
buy housing or like stop people from getting kicked out of projects or like whatever they're doing. Like even when they do all of that, there's still ultimately people that go out at night.
Punch like
Punch
mentally
the
ill
bad
people
guys.
and stuff. Yeah.
The big difference for Green Arrow, though, is that Green Arrow, I think, does tend to get at the root causes maybe more than
Sure,
Batman
yeah,
does,
yeah,
or
yeah.
at least he cares about them. He's maybe less effective than Batman, but I think that's more his aim.
It's a whole Robin Hood thing, right? Like,
Yeah, like Batman would be like, no, you know what? You can stay here. I've bought this. I'll tidy it up. You can live here, whatever. Whereas like Green Arrow would like hunt down the slumlord and like, like even more than Batman would. Batman would be like, technically you didn't do anything against the law. I might scare him a little or whatever. Green Arrow would be like, I don't give a shit about that. Like,
I'm gonna put a fucking arrow through your skull.
It's wrong. Yeah. Well, I mean, Green Arrow in the comics isn't quite like Stephen Amell, but or I'm Stephen Amell's Green Arrow. I've said too much.
Oh no.
You have failed this podcast.
Superman obviously has a history of like fighting the KKK.
Totally. There's like all sorts of really good stuff. That Black Lightning, obviously.
Yeah.
There are so many examples all through comics of all sorts of characters. Now, if you ask me a character who while being a hero has a more reductive view of that, it's like Hawkman.
Sure.
Or at the very least, Hawkman pre-Venditti, I would say. Venditti's Hawkman is like weirdly, I'd say, compassionate.
Sure.
But that's a classic, like Green Arrow and Hawkman. They'll never fucking see eye to eye, those two. Like Hawkman would be like, you pinko commie. Be like, you bootlicker. Like they're like the two of them are always.
It's not explicitly said, but Wildcat.
Yeah, I can see you're trying to Tom Grummett Wildcat.
I've been doing it for years.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, like, there's just those kind of like, if they do something wrong, you stop, like, blah, blah, blah. They committed a crime. They should have thought about it. And Green Arrow would be like, why do you think they committed the crime? Why? Like,
well, yeah.
Hawkman is maybe a little more obtuse. Or at least a lot of versions of Hawkman are a little bit more obtuse that way in terms of those things.
I mean, Hard Traveling Heroes is probably a great example. Like,
well, yeah. So Green Lantern, Green Arrow. The whole point there is, well, I mean, Hal is a space cop, but also he's like off in space. But the whole point of that book is how could you care about a thing if you don't even know? That it's bad. It's about like the getting your boots on the ground and actually seeing what the conditions are. Green Arrow's whole thing is always kind of that. I think there's a great thing in Justice League Unlimited. In the first episode of that, they try to recruit Green Arrow to the Justice League, and he's like, you guys fight big monsters, I want to help the little guy. Batman's point in that episode, and Batman basically briefly wins the argument there, is the monsters that they fight also step on little people.
Sure, yeah.
But Green Arrow, his role ultimately on the Justice League is to be like, you guys are talking about like going down and just taking out a government agency. They're like, but we know it's Waller and Luthor. It's like, yeah, but like Green Arrow's entire role there is like, I'm afraid of you.
Yeah.
Like that's kind of the reason I'm here, is to make sure someone is saying the right thing.
Yeah.
Because you scare me. So, I mean, Green Arrow is a kind of classic version of a character that is,
and then like
he's certainly
issues about AIDS and drug addiction.
He's certainly not the only one. There are so many out there, and comics in general like deal with all sorts of different angles on these things. But yeah, I mean, I'd say Hawkman is probably a less compassionate one.
I would agree with that. All right, last question from First Mage, who asks, on the Flash TV show, they put the villains in cells under Star Labs after defeating them. Are there any similar situations in the comics where a hero also acts as a jailer to their enemies?
Yeah, right. Yeah, because I mean, like Batman, well, technically Batman actually does have a couple of like holding cells and prison cells in the Batcave.
Yeah.
He even had the Joker in one for a bit. But for the most part, Batman does not bring people back to the cave.
Yeah. Phantom Zone sort of acts like that.
The Phantom Zone is a little bit like that, that's for sure. That's a sort of, break glass in case of emergency sort of thing. Like Superman's not sending like the master jailer to the Phantom Zone.
No, he typically doesn't like to put people in situations where they can't actually like get out and then get better, theoretically.
Yeah, exactly. Like it's different for Green Lantern. Like Oa had the science cells, but the science cells are like a prison.
Yeah.
For the organization he works for.
Yeah,
That'd be like saying like, oh, the cops bring him back to their house. It was like, no, that's like the precinct.
No, that doesn't really count. No. Superman, did he have anything inside of like his
in the fortress?
Yeah.
There might be one or two. kind of sell things in there, but in general, I don't think that's Superman's style. There's not like they mostly go to Stryker's Island in Metropolis, and then in Gotham, obviously there's Blackgate and Arkham, there's Iron Heights in Central City. I mean, Waller, if the Squad captures someone, they come back to Belle Rev, they get a bomb in them, and now they belong to Waller. So there's a little bit of that there. It's not a prison, but like Ragman absorbs people's souls into his suit. They become rags that's like the rags that serve him and power him.
Yeah.
So like Ragman has a sort of portable prison,
Does Aquaman, like in the Kingdom, do they have any like pockets of air that like they would keep people in?
They do. I don't. Yeah, they don't often have surface prisoners.
Sure, yeah.
But I mean, again, it's a kingdom.
So there
are prisons.
Yeah.
There's, I was trying not to think of those things because
inherently within those structures, you're obviously going to have those.
Yeah, exactly. I was trying to think of like a personal prison.
Yeah. Not many.
Not a ton. No, for the most, because I think that does start like it is a little bit like, do they get due process or
do they get to eat? Like,
I mean, ultimately, even on the Flash, they don't really put them in the pipeline anymore. They send them to Iron Heights where they have like meta-proof cells and stuff like that. Because even the show was like, it's kind of dark.
It's kind of fucked up that they do this. Yeah.
Did you expect one of those cells to come in just full of piss and shit? It's like, like this.
Yeah, they don't get like time in like it's all solitary and
yeah, exactly. They're not like out in the Star Labs yard.
No, or getting to like eat like in a cafeteria.
Yeah, he just brings them Big Belly Burger. He's force feeding them fast food.
Yeah,
and then like there's one toilet, and otherwise they're just in a cell by themselves. It's like pretty fucked up.
Yeah.
Even the show goes like, oh well, we'll just forget that the pipeline's a thing for a bit.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Like they stop using that set for a bit.
Yeah, but it doesn't really. Yeah, not much.
Phantom Zone's probably the closest. To be honest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's probably it.
Probably.
All right. Well, we would love to hear from you, residents. If you have a question for next week's episode,
you've already sent too many, and it's Epuary, so next week will be an episode.
That's right. Like this was
an episode.
Yeah.
No theme.
No,
just themeless.
Yeah.
It's Epuary.
That's correct.
That's gonna catch on, I think.
Sure. Like no theme. November.
I will not rest until there's a name for every month.
I mean, look, I love that idea. It makes creating.
If anything, I've come around.
Yeah.
So, I think I fought it. Actually.
Yeah, and I'm like, no, this is good. Yeah. We don't have to think as hard.
Man, I can't wait for May this year.
Do we have anything for March? I don't think so.
No, April is prescribed reading month.
Of course, yeah.
There's Eekist, obviously.
Yeah. Well, yeah, obviously.
October.
Yeah.
There was Challenge Month now in September on the Patreon. There's obviously no theme November. We know that one.
That's
then there's Docmas.
Well, yeah. We've got
Personal Confessions January on the Patreon.
Yeah.
We're getting there.
Yeah.
It's really just like March. Well, no, June is Fanagar.
Yeah, of course.
So it's really just March and July. Well, you kept pitching one for July, but I don't like it. I think it's problematic.
When is this podcast ever? / me.
Yeah, what am I? Paul Hot Pot?
Thank you.
Nice.
All right. So eventually you'll be able to ask questions when there's when we're not just doing episodes.
Yeah, baby.
And you can do those through our various social media platforms.
We're Dr. DC Podcast on the platforms.
That's correct. Also, give us a 5-star review. And subscribe to our Patreon.
That's right. Patreon.com/DrDC. There's a $1, $5, $7 level. They all give you access to the Doc Squad, our amazing Discord fan community. And at the higher levels, you get bonus episodes, the Double Dose. Don't worry, Epuary is going strong on the Double Dose as well.
You know it.
And at the highest level, there are bonus series to listen to. Rewatch series like Toretto Talks, Bonding Time, or coming soon, Cerebros, an X-Men rewatch. And all of that helps to support us.
That's right. Speaking of us, we've got a whole other podcast.
That's right. Ghostfacers, a Supernatural rewatch. We're going through every single episode of the CW Supernatural. We are almost done. Season 8 of 15.
I really got to reach out to Kyle.
Talk about real world monster lore, behind the scenes stuff about the show. It's a really fun time. And there's a Patreon over there too. So give us your money.
Do you have any other ones?
Like podcasts?
No. Like restaurant menu items.
Well, here, let me just, let's just grind this to a halt.
I hope you have one hot. That's all.
This.
Yeah,
no. We're going to do this now.
Okay. Yeah,
let's see. Burrito Mussolini.
Sure. How about Donald Dumplings?
Oh, I see.
Yeah,
that's good. I like that you're including him on the tyrant list.
Yeah, obviously.
Yeah. Joseph Stalinguini.
Yeah, I like that.
No, I don't have this one. I was trying to do Kosescu.
Oh, Jesus.
The Romanian one, but I couldn't do it.
It'll never beat Adolf Fischler.
Yeah, Adolf Fischler might have been where it peaked.
Yeah, right. This is it for this week.
Benito Mussolini. It would have been the right country.
Chocolate Mussolini.
Fuck. Adios.
Ciao, ciao.
Heroes, they always fight for what is right. Live with danger and adventure, they are men of might.
This was a Brain Freeze podcast.